So there was someone in my like who was like just blowing up my DMs, trying to like, oh, how could you be like so mean to AOC? How could like he was trying to argue with me about how this relief bill is like so amazing. Of course, he watches Sam Cedar, he watches all those other milk toast channels, the synthetic left, and he kept pressuring me. He's like, "Let me come on your show. Let me come on your show. Let me debate you." Was like, all right. So I knew you guys were gonna pack some heat. So I was like, all right, if you want to debate me, you don't mind debating also like my friends Misty and Jesse. You know, we want to help people grow. So this person's gonna be coming on the show right now. It's a surprise guest. His name is Sequoia Morewhite. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. But he is from Echo Park, Los Angeles. He is a member of DSA. He is part of Left is the Best Network. And he has a show called The Rational Humanist. Sequoia Morewhite, thank you very much for being here. How are you?
It's about time.
What do you
be
mean?
here.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Sequoia.
Good to see you guys. No. It's cool. I've just been looking forward to this.
Good to see you, Seki.
So wait, what's the name of your the rational?
The Rational Humanist, right?
Okay, because Jesse
Rational
loves
Humanist.
names like that. Jesse loves names like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sorry. Who are you?
This is Misty Winston and Jesse Zerwell of Facts on the Ground.
I'm Putin's buddy. I'm actually. You
Yeah.
can call me Mindy too.
I'm also. I can't remember all the derogatory things I've been called on Twitter.
Sequoia will come up with some more, I'm sure.
Yeah, please do.
So, welcome Sequoia Morewhite to the show. I understand we may have some disagreements, and I'd love to get on here and discuss with you and convince you that yes, the squad are sellouts, and them letting this new bill pass with no resistance at all, which included none of the things that they promised that they were going to fight for, like $15 minimum wage, the $2,000 checks, the decrease in unemployment benefits from $400 to $300. How is that at all defensible, Sequoia?
Well, there's a lot of hard work that goes into governance, Franco. It's a process, and when you get right into it, it's I'm pretty sure the American people don't want to know how the sausage gets made, but from what I understand, there were some backdoor concessions made that will certainly, in the long run, prove to be positive towards making serious efforts and steps towards realizing the $15 minimum an hour wage.
So what were those concessions though? Because I was told that it was going to be like committee appointments. And actually Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said that one of those things would be $15 an hour minimum wage. So what happened to that?
So I am getting pretty tired of how everyone gangs up on AOC to make it to where it's all on her. And this is just one person with a congressional seat who has demonstrated time and time again that she's ready to take on the establishment, but we need to support her.
Okay,
With
so
more
let me interrupt
progressives
you.
in office.
Hold on, let me.
What has she done to show
demonstrated
that?
No, well,
Have
let me
you
let me
not
interrupt-
seen her Twitch streams? Oh my
know.
God, they're to
Listen, to be
die
fair-
for.
Right, pretty
Oh,
fierce,
that
right? Okay, so
kabuki
you don't
theater?
want me to focus on AOC. So let's talk about Ilhan Omar, because she recently said that once we have all of the Democrats have all of this power in government, all it will take is 5 or 6 really brave progressives to get things done. So why is Ilhan Omar not advocating for using those 5 or 6 brave progressives in order to push our agenda? That doesn't make any sense, because that's something that she just recently said was going to happen.
Okay,
So it's not
well,
AOC.
I need
What-
to. I'm not trying to interrupt you because you're a woman, but you did just use scare quotes, which I find to be violence, and I am a little bit offended at the thinly veiled Islamophobia that you're demonstrating when you criticize Representative Omar.
All right. Well, Sequoia, how do you defend this? Because This is the exchange that AOC had with Justin Jackson when she was saying that she wasn't going to vote for.
Let me ask, because I think this is an important question. Why is criticizing Ilhan Omar typically reflexively equated to Islamophobia, Sequoia?
Yeah, Sequoia.
Are you? I don't want to be ableist. So, are there problems with? Is there a problem with your vision? Do you have eye strain?
Not to my knowledge.
Because Ilhan Omar is a woman of color.
She's also a woman, though. Does that mean I'm sexist? Just because I have
seen your Twitter account, Mindy, and I have found it to be
who's Mindy?
Borderline sexist. I don't know if
women
I
can be
call
sexist
it
to other
force,
women,
but you seem to cheer for some of the more
like Fiorella Isabel.
I have never met a more sexist individual in my entire life than Fiorella Isabel of the Combo Couch.
I can't wait to tell her you said that. She's gonna love it. She like that's
Oh no, because I'm going to meet them next week in Washington D.C. I live in Georgetown. I don't know if this has been made clear. I know they introduced me as from Echo Park, and I am originally from Echo Park, but currently I reside in Georgetown, so I plan on meeting them.
Yeah, it's an up and coming neighborhood.
So you'll be protesting for Julian Assange, and you'll be protesting against censorship then, since you'll be joining us at those protests? Because I'll be there too. I'm really excited to meet you.
I have a meeting with David Sirota. We're going to a late breakfast, and then I was going to stop by afterwards.
By late breakfast, do you mean brunch?
I've heard people refer it to that, yes.
I've heard he's a poached eggs fan.
So Sequoia, will you pressure AOC to speak out about Assange? Because this is the most important press freedom trial of our. Okay, well the other members of the squad as well.
You're getting a little violent right now.
I think it's terrible what is being done to Julian Assange, and I do think that there are ways we can go about pressuring our politicians. Has anyone tried tweeting at them?
No, we actually haven't thought of that. That's a really good idea, though.
I would do that. I would try tweeting at them, and then I would try emailing or calling their offices.
Wow. You are actually pretty good at this.
And let's say that we've already been doing that. Then what's the next step?
Well, I would imagine that you would probably petition Teen Vogue to see if they can get Julian on the cover.
Oh, everybody knows a strongly worded petition really works. That's definitely the most.
I assume that's the first thing you did. I mean, I thought you guys were professionals.
Yeah, we're definitely not professionals, but I appreciate the fact that you think that makes me feel pretty good about it. So yeah, are you going to you'll be joining our protests then? You said you support Julian Assange. Will you be joining our protests and marching with us in DC?
Like I said, I have a
brunch,
late breakfast, and
don't you think freedom of speech is more important than brunch, though, Sequoia?
So how can I be a good advocate for free speech, or for Medicare for all, or for a $15 an hour minimum wage if I don't secure that blogging position at Daily Poster?
It's true.
That is true.
How are you going to get
how
are you going to get your nuanced perspectives out there?
But Sequoia, if you don't have freedom of speech, then you probably aren't going to have Daily Poster or the ability to blog. So again, don't you think freedom of speech is more important than your brunch?
Well, again, how can I properly advocate if I don't have the logins to the WordPress site that Sirota is using for that blog?
Right.
Why don't you just work on exposing them for not speaking out about Assange?
Yeah, that would be good, because David Sirota sucks.
If we want genuine progressives in office, we can't destroy the ones that we already put there. We've got to focus our efforts on electing more and more progressive members of Congress.
What do you mean by progressive?
Well, haven't we been? I mean, don't we all want basically the same thing, like a Green New Deal and a livable wage and
Those are good buzzwords.
health care for
But
every
$15 an hour
citizen?
isn't even a livable wage, and we don't even get that.
And
Well,
we can't even get
I mean,
progressives
let's
to
be
fight for it.
honest. We're not expecting people to live. I mean, we know. We know. We're not expecting
All
everyone
right. But look,
to
Sequoia.
be able to afford. I mean, I have a roommate. I live in Georgetown. There's 17 of us sleeping in a 2-bedroom house just to afford to live here.
But Sequoia,
Yeah.
look. This is what AOC said when she
What's
was
the name
in
of your
that back and
cult?
forth with Justin Jackson. She said, in contrast, you can use leverage to push for things that can happen and change lives, i.e., a $15 minimum wage vote in the first 100 days, doable. Elevating longtime progressive champions to important positions of leadership, also doable. That's the opportunity cost to weigh. But I mean, it doesn't seem like she's doing what she said is doable.
I feel like they advocated for that, and it wasn't the right moment for it. So I'm sure we'll revisit it a couple of months down the road
you circle
and
back?
make another push for it.
Going to circle back to that. But
That's a decent way of putting it. Yeah.
yeah.
It's definitely in the pipeline, right?
But here's the thing though, these are all and especially $15 an hour minimum wage. Joe Biden himself ran on that. They have control over the House and the Senate, and they have the White House, and they have the ability to use, like Ilhan Omar said, their leverage of 5 or 6 brave progressives. I'm sorry to be violent again, Sequoia. I don't want to trigger you. But so why can't they fight for $15 an hour minimum wage and push Biden left? Again, sorry, don't mean to trigger you, because that was their whole thing that they were going to do. And if they can't even do that on a thing that he ran on, what are they going to be able to push him on?
I feel like there has been significant movement in pushing Biden left in terms of some of his cabinet appointments or lack of cabinet appointments, because near attendance, not at budget. That was a huge win for progressives. And Joe Biden called off a drone strike because he didn't want to hurt a woman and her kid. And that never would have happened under Donald Trump. And it probably wouldn't have happened under Barack Obama either.
Was that before or after he illegally bombed Syria?
I'm sorry, what?
Was that before or after he illegally bombed Syria?
Same time. There were supposed to be 2 drone strikes, and he only did one because there was a woman and a child at the other location. But that's just
yes,
what they
and
say.
that's
There's
the
no-
important. I feel like it. Look, we all know that the American war machine, it has been out of hand forever, and all of us would like to see a cessation to the end of the illegal wars in the Mideast.
Cessation of hostilities?
So why did AOC remain silent on the bombing of Syria? She still has yet to say anything about that. And she also regularly supports coup actions in Venezuela, Brazil. So why is if foreign policy is important to you and ending the war machine, then why are you excusing AOC on that?
Because I feel like the things that we need in this country right now, I mean, of course, I would like to see more movement towards a huge reduction in military spending. I think we all would. But I think AOC's efforts can best be focused on domestic policy, because that's where we've really seen her shine.
So
Yeah,
Sequoia,
but
how is AOC any different from these neocons if she's not resisting these foreign policies?
Also, she majored in international relations at BU, so I think she has some idea of.
I mean, let's be
geopolitics
honest.
work.
A major in international relations is only like second to easiest possible degree you can get after elementary school teacher.
I did not know
I think I think you may actually be somehow degrading a woman with that comment, Steve.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Somebody
Some
you've
of
been
my
telling us
best
to
friends are
advocate for.
elementary school teachers, and they're downright giddy about how easy their degree was. It's the student loans they're having problems with.
So, okay, so what is the squad
they just
doing
have to
about
stop
the student
buying
loan debt
iPhones.
crisis?
Yeah, why don't we talk about the student debt crisis? Because that's
Let's
another
talk
thing
about the student debt crisis.
Let's do that.
I'm all for putting
Because
pressure on our elected officials.
But how?
Sequoia, before we get into that, I want to ask you about Pramila Jayapal's comments on this bill that is passing or has passed. Did they pass it already? We know it's going.
Biden's refusing to sign it until Friday, tomorrow.
I've never actually taken questions from a train hopper before. This is delightful.
Oh, you're welcome. I've never hopped a train before, so I appreciate the street cred.
I've seen documentaries. You look very similar. I'm sorry if I assumed.
Yeah, we can Skype afterwards. So she's a Democratic congresswoman from Washington state, and the leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. And this is according to The Hill. And she said on Monday that she didn't think the changes pursued by the Senate centrists were good policy or good politics, but minimized them as, quote, relatively minor in the grand scheme of things, unquote. Would you agree with her?
I mean, that sounds like a reasonable quote to make, doesn't it? It sounds like a reasonable position to take.
For a sociopath?
So, are you in any way, shape, or form qualified to diagnose mental disorders?
Yes, because I deal with a lot of them.
Where did you graduate?
I graduated from Yale. I was in the same class as Bush Jr.
I like a joke as much as the next guy, but I can't consider your opinion without the proper credentials. That's preposterous.
Have you seen Benjamin Button?
Oh, okay. But you're not an approved authority.
Benjamin Button, is that a band? Mm-hmm. Like a train rider band?
No, he's
never heard of him.
He's an icon, as played by Bradley Pitt in the movie Benjamin Buttons.
I find Brad Pitt to be personally threatening, so I avoid his movies.
Oh.
Do you? Is it his eyes?
I only watch film in black and white, usually in another language, and only if it's a documentary or if it was made in the early era of film.
Oh, well, okay. So can we get into student debt? Because I'd really like to hear your excuses for all of this, because this is another thing that Joe Biden proclaimed to at least kind of support. He has kind of a weak ass policy position on it. But so let's talk about student debt. Why are the progressives not pushing Joe Biden left on the student debt crisis? And why wasn't that included in the COVID relief bill?
I feel like they're trying to pick their moment. I mean, personally, I held my nose for Joe Biden, but I didn't really expect much out of him. What I would like to see is really less of this with your little division and red browning. I would like to see less of this, and I would like to see more of us.
More blue browning,
getting involved in the political process and trying to take over not just the House of Representatives, but our state houses. Did you know that in Nevada, socialists just kicked out, or the entire Democratic Congress? There are socialists running the state house in Nevada.
Democratic socialists,
and that just shows you when people come together to organize and they vote, then real change can get made, and that's what we need to be focused on right now.
Oh, well, maybe we should focus on election integrity, though, because you say that voting matters, but it's no secret that our elections are total crap and it regularly rank dead last among Western democracies. So why haven't the progressives been fighting for election integrity, given the fact that we, thanks to WikiLeaks, have evidence for the 2016 Democratic primary being rigged, and it's pretty obvious that the 2020 primary was also rigged. So why are progressives not talking about election integrity?
There's a group that is sort of ruined election integrity for everyone, and
Really?
and it's one of those issues that I'm going to be really candid right here. It's one of those issues that I think everybody would like to talk about more, but when it comes right down to it, nobody wants to do any of the work to secure free and fair elections.
It's just not the moment.
Pardon?
It's just not the moment.
Well, there's no energy for it because all of the energy exists on the right. The only people that want election integrity as a major issue on the left are all quasi-fascist, Nazi adjacent shit heels, really.
So you acknowledge that.
Sequoia? Name some names. Sequoia.
Nazi adjacent or Nazi catty cornered?
Nazi collaborators is what I often hear.
Is this real? I mean, if it was catty corner, would it make a difference to you? Like, as opposed to adjacent? If you were like, oh, well, I suppose it's across the street and down the road, so it's all right and I can deal with it. But if it's like adjacent as in immediately adjacent, like where are we? Like, how is
I like to know where I am. I like to know. I like to know where I am both geometrically and spatially, and sometimes those two intertwine. And here I'm trying to find out exactly where you're locating said subjects, and I feel a lot better with a more
well, then I would stop using nonsense words from the 1930s like catty corner.
Oh,
excuse me.
Okay.
So
but seriously,
Sequoia,
would you like to name some names?
I have a copyright on that word.
Yeah,
I'll believe that when you show me your degree from Yale.
Okay.
So you acknowledge that Bernie Sanders was cheated in the 2016 election, right?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody knows that.
Okay, so then how can we make sure that it doesn't happen again? And why do we assume that the Democrats won't do it in the general election? Shouldn't we be fighting for democracy anyway? Like, aren't we supposed to be consistent about it? And also, how are we ever going to get somebody like a progressive to win if we don't have secure elections and we just let them get away with what they did to Bernie Sanders?
So it is almost impossible for Democrats to rig general elections. If you read Greg Palast's work, the general elections are always, every single time a Republican wins, it's always because Greg Palast says they stole the election. And if you look at programs like Interstate Crosscheck and all of the voter certification and purges and everything, his work stands up.
The guy wrote the book
really
how Trump stole 2020.
At that point, when the problem is at the primary level, right? Because if we can just get the right person through the primary, they'll be able to amass an overwhelming force of voters that will just steamroll over any possible Republican rigging.
So
the guy wrote a book called How Trump Stole 2020. How can you cite Greg Palast?
Well, it's only because of strong union leadership and a grassroots coalition of billionaires and media personalities that our elections got fortified and secured to prevent Trump from stealing them. So in a way, Greg Palast's book was sort of the catalyst for this group of individuals to come together to again secure and safeguard the election in the general, which is why it was the safest and most secure election that the United States has ever had, period, full stop.
So you don't think Russia meddled in the 2016 election?
I voted for Bernie. I don't believe in Russia. I don't even think it exists unless we're talking about it in a fantastical way that supports all of my tanky friends' memes and T-shirts, but not any actual.
Okay, so
Existence.
you're using these words tanky. Like, who do you listen to for information where these words are repeated?
Oh, the whole tanky thing is something I really got off of Twitter. Again, I don't spend a whole lot of time watching I guess YouTube. I check in on a handful of shows, but mostly I read.
What do you read?
What do you read?
Well, I'm currently reading some of Noam Chomsky's collected writings. I am.
He's been really on point lately.
I did just hear. I don't know how Jimmy Dore got him on his show, and fuck that guy, by the way. But I did just hear Noam on Jimmy Dore's show, and he sounded like he was having a wonderful time.
Oh yes, yeah. Noam does have a great time on the Jimmy Dore show. I'm really glad you brought Jimmy Dore up because I'm interested to hear what you think of Jimmy Dore and Force the Vote because just what do you think about that, Sequoia?
Well, I think Jimmy Dore sometimes has decent ideas, but I think he's much too angry. And I don't think that someone who is that hostile is really who we should be taking our political cues from. I don't think that Force the Vote was necessarily the best idea in that moment. I think that there are a handful of different ways that whole thing could have gone down. But I am really glad that at the end of the day, everyone who argued against that strategy turned out to be vindicated because clearly not even being in a position where you could use your leverage is enough to get it through the House or the Senate, which again is why we need more progressives fighting for us in Congress.
Well,
So
you can use your leverage. You can use your leverage if you're somebody like Joe Manchin who's playing both sides of the fence.
Joe Manchin's a freaking like railroad owner from the 1800s. I swear he is. He's like the reincarnated fucking who's a robber baron? Let's just come up with one right now. Pockets Penny bags. I don't know.
Pockets McCarnegie.
I mean, let's Carnegie. That what is he steel or railroads or both?
I believe it was steel.
At any rate, Joe Manchin's a piece of shit. I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that.
Now I'm gonna have to go on Wikipedia, which is always reliable, and find out. So, thanks, Sequoia.
My friend Glory Jones does a great job on Wikipedia. She's a great Wikipedia author, just so you know. Glory Jones is great. You should check her out, Sequoia. Glory's great.
Oh yeah.
Sequoia would love Glory.
Never heard of her.
So it looks like we're not going to agree on economic strategy here. But what is your stance on this vaccine stuff? Like, do you support that every American should be receiving a vaccine forcefully?
Yeah, I can't believe that people. You know what, dude? I can't even do that bit. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Let's
took it too far, Franco.
I really wanted to talk about it.
For people to hurt themselves even out of comedy. That's not going to happen.
Oh, okay.
Can't do that.
All right. So for people who didn't know, this is Sequoia Morewhite is not really Sequoia Morewhite, but
no.
But he is Steve Poikonen from Slow News Day.
Steve, I love your man bun, my friend, and I'm going I hope Sequoia shows up to DC for real because I need a selfie with Sequoia.
Oh, yo, dude, that's definitely happening.
Good.
Okay. That is
good.
That is
excellent.
Absolutely
I need that, and I need a jazz hand drew dance, and my life will be good.
Some people were getting mad in the comment section. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you bring this guy up?
I can't
I'm so bad at like I couldn't even, I was trying to like, deadpan it, but it's too funny. I just can't. So I'm surprised I didn't give it away with like my ridiculous giggling. But yeah.
Who wears shirts like that, by the way, man?
I don't know.
Can we?
Kyle Kalinske.
I was gonna say, I want to reiterate that the only people that buy checkered shirts like that would wear it under a suit jacket are the type of people that hire other dudes to come have sex with their wife while they watch.
Well, I would also add mixologists in Brooklyn to that list.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.